More high-profile individuals continue to be exposed days after the Department of Justice released documents related to proclaimed sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Republican Congressman Thomas Massie and Democrat Representative Ro Khanna were among the lawmakers who visited a Justice Department office in Washington to look through the unredacted versions of the files on Epstein. As part of an arrangement with the Justice Department, lawmakers were given access to the over 3 million released files in a reading room with 4 computers. Lawmakers can only make handwritten notes, and their staff are not allowed in with them.
The user interface is a little clunky at first, but what I saw that bothered me were the names of at least 6 men that have been redacted that are likely incriminated by their inclusion in these files. So that's the first thing that I saw. It took some digging to find them. Then I'll let you talk about what you saw.
Well, and we discussed that. I mean, there are 6 men, some of them with their photographs, that have been redacted, and there's no explanation why those people were redacted.
In a series of X posts, Massie said that the Department of Justice unredacted an FBI file that named 2 individuals as co-conspirators. Massie said that the DOJ tacitly admitted that Emirati billionaire Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem sent a torture video to Epstein. Massie, in an X post, shared a screenshot of a purported mail sent by the Sultan to Epstein, who said he loved the torture video. In another video, Massie claimed that a well-known retired CEO was named in the FBI file who should be redacted. The Kentucky lawmaker in an X post said he and Ro Khanna spent 2 hours at the Justice Department office viewing the unredacted Epstein files, which showed that 4 of the 18 redacted names on this document were men born before 1970. Democrat Representative Ro Khanna, in a reply to Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, said that the DOJ staff said that the documents they got had been redacted in March. In an X post, Khanna said, "If in Norway the princess no longer has the support to be queen, and if in the UK King Charles is now calling for a criminal investigation into his own brother, then surely in the United States of America, Howard Lutnick must resign."
What I saw that bothered me were the names of at least 6 men that have been redacted that are likely incriminated by their inclusion in these files. So that's the first thing that I saw. It took some digging to find them.
Discussed that. I mean, there are 6 men, some of them with their photographs, that have been redacted, and there's no explanation why those people were redacted. And
at least one is a U.S. citizen, at least one is a foreigner, and the other 3 or 4 have names. I'm not sure if they're foreign or U.S. One is pretty high up in the foreign government.
And some are, one of the others is a pretty prominent individual. But I think that the point is that these 6 are just what we found in 2 hours of a review of the files that aren't redacted.
I mean, what we're after is the men who Jeffrey Epstein trafficked women to. We want those names published. We're not out to embarrass people.
As part of an arrangement with the Justice Department, lawmakers were given access to the over 3 million released files in a reading room with 4 computers. Lawmakers can only make handwritten notes, and their staff are not allowed in with them.
Howard Lutnick to face potentially some accountability for the connection that he has in these files. Do you support that call?
Absolutely. Look at what's happening in Britain. You have a left government. Actually, I know Keir Starmer. I was excited when he won, and yet I believe he needs to be held accountable with what's happened with Mendelssohn. You have the British monarchy having to answer questions. I mean, the King of England is putting out statements. And yet, in our country, we have not had that reckoning. People in power, whether they're in government, whether they're in finance, whether they're in technology, if they have been implicated in the files in morally embarrassing ways and in ways that shock the conscience, should be held accountable. And it should be regardless of party.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is fighting for his political survival as a scandal tied to Jeffrey Epstein threatens to unravel his authority, his government and his party. At the centre of the storm is Starmer's controversial decision to appoint Peter Mandelson as Britain's ambassador to the United States in 2024, a move now widely seen as a catastrophic misjudgment. Newly released US Justice Department files have laid bare the depth of Mandelson's relationship with Epstein, reigniting fury across Westminster and among Labour's own ranks. The documents reveal Mandelson remained in contact with Epstein even after the financier's 2008 conviction for sex crimes involving a minor. Worse still, emails suggest Mandelson shared sensitive, potentially market-moving government information with Epstein while serving as a senior Labour cabinet minister during the financial crisis. Starmer initially defended the appointment, then fired Mandelson last September after earlier revelations emerged. Now, with fresh disclosures piling up, that explanation is no longer holding. The fallout has been swift and brutal.
The whole House will be disgusted by the latest revelations about Jeffrey Epstein. All of us want to see his victims get justice. But the political decision to appoint Epstein's close associate, Peter Mandelson, as Britain's ambassador to Washington goes to the very heart of this Prime Minister's judgment. When he made that appointment, was he aware that Mandelson had continued his friendship even after Epstein's conviction for child prostitution?
Simple question. Mr. Speaker, let me start where I must with the victims of Epstein, and all of our thoughts are with them. Can I also say our thoughts are with all those who lost jobs, savings and livelihoods in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crash. To learn that there was a cabinet minister leaking sensitive information at the height of the response to the 2008 crash is beyond infuriating. And I am as angry as the public and any member of this House. Mandelson betrayed our country, our Parliament and my party. Mr. Speaker, he lied repeatedly to my team when asked about his relationship with Epstein before and during his tenure as ambassador. I regret appointing him. If I knew then what I know now, he would never have been anywhere near government. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, yesterday, the Cabinet Secretary, with my support, took the decision to refer material to the police. And there is now a criminal investigation. I've instructed my team to draft legislation to strip Mandelson of his title and wider legislation to remove disgraced peers. And this morning, I've agreed with His Majesty the King that Mandelson should be removed from the list of Privy Councillors on grounds that he's brought the reputation of the Privy Council into disrepute.
Starmer's Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney, resigned, taking responsibility for advising the Prime Minister on the appointment. A day later, Starmer's Communications Chief, Tim Allen, followed him out the door. But for many in Labour, 2 resignations are not enough. The crisis escalated dramatically when Anna Sarwar, leader of Scottish Labour, publicly called for Starmer to resign, the most senior party figure to do so yet. Speaking in Glasgow, Sarwar said the distraction must end and that leadership in Downing Street needs to change.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have, as you can imagine, done a lot of thinking over the last few days, and I am clear that I have to do what's right for my country, Scotland. This isn't easy, and it's not without pain, as I have a genuine friendship with Keir Starmer. But my first priority and my first loyalty is to my country, Scotland. And I am not willing to sacrifice Scotland's NHS, our schools, our communities, our towns, cities, villages and islands to a third decade of an SNP government. That's why the distraction needs to end and the leadership in Downing Street has to change. It is so obvious that we desperately need change in Scotland. And in 3 months' time, the opportunity to get rid of a failing SNP government is one that is too important to be missed. We cannot allow the failures at the heart of Downing Street to mean the failures continue here in Scotland. Because the election in May is not without consequence for the lives of Scots.
Sarwar's intervention is particularly damaging. Scottish Labour faces elections in May, and its polling has slipped as Starmer's national popularity has sunk. Once a close ally of the Prime Minister, Sarwar has now openly broken ranks, signalling that Starmer's problems are no longer confined to Westminster corridors. Starmer insists he can survive. He has apologised to the public and to Epstein's victims, saying he was misled by Mandelson's lies. His allies argue that forcing out another Prime Minister so soon after Labour's landslide 2024 victory would repeat the chaos that destroyed the Conservatives. Veteran Labour Minister Jackie Smith has warned MPs to stop plotting, urging the party to focus on governing rather than infighting. Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy has publicly defended Starmer, citing his clear 5-year mandate from voters. But behind the scenes, unease is spreading. MPs are bracing for the release of files detailing how Mandelson was vetted, documents that could either vindicate Starmer's claim he was deceived or deepen the crisis further. Political danger looms on the horizon. A by-election later this month, followed by high-stakes elections in Scotland, Wales and across England in May, could turn into a referendum on Starmer's leadership. Meanwhile, Mandelson himself is now under police investigation over alleged misconduct in public office. As Labour fractures between loyalty and revolt, Starmer faces the oldest truth in politics, one captured by former Prime Minister Harold Macmillan. Events, dear boy, events. And right now, events are moving fast, and they are not in Keir Starmer's favour.